What is up, everybody? It's the chairman of the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people.
You are listening to the USDN on the DSPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children and all ages. I have Bruno back with us today to discuss his new Kickstarter. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right. Scinematic Figments. Is that correct?
It works, yes.
I've been racking my brain on how you presented that because I love the name. But I know it's like sci-fi and cinematic put together, which is a really dope title for this book and very fitting, I might add. So for me, it was like, damn, is he trying to say skinematic or cinematic or... So how are you saying it?
Yeah, I would say cinematic because, it's still the word cinematic. It just has an S in front of it. But it's the whole thing that I did not realize is that this works really well if you're looking at the title and you're reading it, but if you're just hearing it, it does not work at all.
Maybe if you would have put a dash between the sci and the pneumatic, then maybe it would have been a little less confusing. But I still love the name of it, man. It draws you in by the name because it's like, okay, we got some sci-fi, and the art itself is very cinematic in a way that it's almost like the opening sequence of a Space Odyssey anime or something like that. Was that what you were going for with that?
Yeah, so a lot of these stories, they were basically, I probably mentioned that last time that I was here, that I started doing films and stuff like that. So a lot of the stories in this book are stories that I could not make as films because they were expensive. For example, Parasites is one of those. I had this very clear idea about telling this story as a short film, and then I thought, well, I'm never going to be able to do this as a short film. And I thought, okay, let's put it into comics. And that's how the name was born. Was like these cinematic stories.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. No, and it really works that way too. At least, so I don't know how many other people have had the honor of reading these yet, but I have read all four. Well, technically, I think it's three, right? But there's two stories in issue one, Finite, and then in issue two of the anthology, there's two stories, Parasites and Infinite. Because I didn't see a second title in issue one. I know there's two stories, but I don't recall seeing the second title.
Oh,
because I've seen it was the work in progress one is the one I got to read.
Yeah. Basically, what I sent was like a review copy. Not a lot of people have read it yet, I think. So yeah, but
I'm in a special class because I'm happy I've got to read it because dude, I was blown away. It was another one of those where I'm on the edge of my seat and I wanted more from it. Like, I'm like, God, he's going to leave me like this again on another. Like, come on, Bruno, give me more, man.
Yeah, I just write things without endings. That's the no, I'm kidding. The second story, it's called My Time Has Come,
Okay.
which is kind of a shitty
It,
title.
it's really not. If it's the story I'm thinking of, it was perfect. That's a perfect title for it.
Okay, yeah, but I debated a lot the title of that story. It had a lot of titles, that story. Let's put it like that.
Because that's the one I think you were talking about. Like, hey, it may be a little political.
Yeah, well, it was not intended like that. I just think
And
that a
it
lot of
wasn't really
things.
anything. I didn't feel it as political. I mean, we'll dive into the story just a little bit because that was probably one of my favorites. The way it ended, because it was like the perfect ending for this guy. Like this guy is a complete chauvinistic douche. No other way to put it. And he got his just deserves at the end of that story, which to me was so fitting for him and his, I'm guessing, demise, because we don't know if he perished, but I'm guessing he perished. So, but
Who
I
knows?
thought that one had the perfect ending for this guy. I'm like, oh, this guy got what he deserved.
That's really good to hear. Yeah, I mean, you never know when when you're telling a story without having like a very obvious ending. You're always like, are people going to get it? Are people going to like it? It's good to hear that.
No, that one, that story was of the four, and I liked all four. That was probably my favorite because the whole time I'm reading the story, I'm like, God damn, this dude's an asshole. He's everything that society doesn't need. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And for him to get his comeuppance was like, hell yeah. Like he got what he deserved at the end.
Yeah, and I think when I said it's a little bit more political, it's really because of the whole, the way he behaves
Yeah. Yeah.
is politicizing things that, in my opinion, are really not politics.
No,
You know,
you're absolutely right.
yeah,
And to me, it was just the typical alpha male, mentality that you still see out there on a daily basis. I mean, the news is full of them, but the way, yeah, all I can say is people will need to buy this Kickstarter, whether it's you just get the electric, you support the pledge or pledge to just support and get the electric copy of it through PDF, or if you actually buy the paper copy of it, that's a story I think needs to be read because it to me was that good.
thank you. Yeah, it's very good to hear. Yeah, it's probably the more traditional one, to be honest, from the four. Yeah, I think it's probably a risky book because a lot of the stories are very much, I don't know, they're different. They're not the typical storytelling, I guess.
Not, but to me, that's what makes it good to me. I've been an indie comic guy like since I got back into the game. There's a few mainstream stories. Well, I won't even say stories, characters that I enjoy reading. Like I'm currently reading Daredevil Unleash Hell by Erica Schultz, but I'm a fan of Erica Schultz
Mhm.
because she was the first female writer to write a Spawn title with Rat City. And she's also doing a really good job of X-23 and that stuff and a few other books. But she's a phenomenal writer. And that's why I picked up Daredevil Unleash Hell. It's just simply because she is a good writer. But me following indie comics basically from the beginning, from James Tynion and those guys, I've always like appreciated their stories more because they're different. They're not the mainstream superheroes that we're
Yeah,
used to. So that's kind of what's always drawn me to titles like this is that they're not the mainstream stuff. They're it's a different type of storytelling that not everybody is going to enjoy. But for me, with this one in you, I think there's something there for everybody.
yeah, you were talking about Tinian. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Department of Truth is such a good book.
So the Department of Truth, World Tree, House of Slaughter, Something is Killing the Children. His new one that's all about the cryptids and stuff like that. Phenomenal storyteller. And he's got a laundry list of titles right now that there's something there for everybody. And that's what I've always appreciated about him, is that he writes for everybody. Like, you could pick up one of his books and go, oh, I don't like this. Pick up a different book, start reading it, and realize, oh, damn, this is Tinian. Maybe I should go back and read this other book that I said I didn't like because this one's so good. But I think my very first title of his that I ever read was Something is Killing the Children, and do
not spoil it.
In the house of the nice house by the lake.
Yeah, that's really good. Do not spoil it. It's here, but I still haven't read it.
Oh, bro, you're going to love it. House of Slaughter just finished with issue 30, and dude, the way it finished, it set up the next arc of Something is Killing the Children that comes out next month in April. So I'm super excited about that because I've been such a huge fan from the very beginning. Like, I went out and found, like, because I got into it late. Mm-hmm. So I had to go back and like hunt down individual books. And I know some people who have collected every cover, which some of these books have 10 to 15 covers. Wow. And they get them all. I just wanted one cover. You know, and it was so hard to find, but I finally got it. You know, I finally pieced the entire individual issues together so I could read it. And granted, I still buy the trade paperback or the hardbound. Just, I want to have it because I'm such a big fan of him, and why he just started his own company with Tiny Onion. So, and the Tiny Onion's working with Image, Boom, and Dynamite. They're working with everybody to write these really cool, unique stories. And by him having his own umbrella of Tiny Onion, it's allowing him to make more money off of it. And they're basically publishing his book or doing the production of the book while he's making the most money off of it, which is the way it should be.
Yeah, and he gets to tell the stories he wants to tell, not, you know, what... Yeah, not what the big publishers would want.
But that's what's great about Kickstarter. It allows people like yourself to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you'll always find... the other day, I can't remember who it was, was saying, you know, just write what you want to read. And I guess that's true, because if you like to read it, chances are that somebody else out there is going to like it. So if you write that, you will find your audience. And I started doing conventions, you know, more recently.
I've seen that. Yeah. How is that going?
I only done a couple of them, but it's really fun. I'm really enjoying them. And the main thing is that you do get to talk with people who really enjoy comics, who are looking for new things. And I guess it's that thing that, you are meeting people, and slowly you are kind of building a list of people that actually start following your work and enjoy what you do, I guess. And it's not going to be overnight, but if you write something you enjoy, you will eventually find people who will enjoy it as well, I guess. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Like, in the US, Comic-Cons have slowly became more about everything else than the comic. Is it the same way there in the UK as well?
Yeah. It's terrible here. I would say that I actually wrote an article on Medium about the conventions that I think are worth it from the point of view of readers and traders. But I mean, you have Thought Bubble, which is like, you know, it's a haven for comic book creators. Last year we had Tinian, we had Chip Zdarsky, we had like a lot of, you know,
that's good. There's still some out there that's about the comic book. I know there's one here somewhere they have every year, but it's not very, it's briefly advertised and then it's over. And by the time it's over, I'm like, oh wait, it's already passed. And I'm disappointed because that one is truly about the comic books versus, You know, I have no issues with anime. I watch a ton of anime, but most of these conventions now, you go there, it's just people selling art prints, costume accessories, and there's not a whole lot of comic book to it anymore, which there's nothing wrong with that. They're meant to expand and have something there for everybody.
Yeah.
But we have to stop calling that a comic con, because it's no longer a comic con. A comic con to me is about the comic book. It's about the creators, the writers, the production side of it. I know San Diego Comic Con is a little bit better, and some of the bigger ones are a little bit better, where they have a ton of creators. Publishers have their own booths and stuff like that. But some of these smaller ones, it's more, they try to have something for everybody. It's one of those where it's like where they say pick your struggle, and they're picking all the struggles but still calling it a Comic Con. I'm like, it's no longer a Comic Con.
Yeah. I mean, the one that I did more recently, I kind of, if I just considered the table, I would have broken even. I don't, because I traveled and all of that. But yeah, it's. I think at small Comic Cons near you, you might actually do all right if you live nearby. But yeah, but only because there isn't much choice, right? So if someone goes there looking for comics, they're like, oh, there's you and two other guys, so they'll eventually buy from you. And it's like,
yeah. And what's cool about that is with you, they're getting something different and they're getting something unique. So they're going to sit down and read it, versus it's just going to go in my box over here. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. But still, I feel like you. I feel like the whole, I was in a. I'm not going to name names, but I was in a convention last year that I basically asked for a refund. They didn't give me one, but I asked for a refund.
Yeah.
Because I got there, I traveled. It was 2 days. I got a 2-day ticket. It was a really big event, and I got there, and there was like 2 comic book traders, 2, in an event called Comic Con.
And it costs. What I don't think people realize is, like, people, like, creators get invites to these things, but they're still paying for the table space. Whether it's 100, 200, $300, I've seen it go for even more for table space. And I'm like, they may not even break even on the day, because people aren't going there for the comic books anymore.
Yeah, and that's been the thing that I've been kind of trying to incentivize. I criticize conventions a lot. For example, MCM is a big one in the UK, and they are still one of the best, at least in London. Birmingham, not so much, but London, they are still one of the best. And I did not get in, unfortunately. I'm not salty, but but even when I criticize,
Just
I try
like caramel, buddy, you're a little salty.
yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, I think I'm more worried about the fact that it used to be a really good convention for comics, and it's getting worse and worse. And like you say, there's a lot of people selling. Look, there's room for everybody, but when you have an artist alley where you have more people selling, prints of Baldur's Gate or animes or something like that, I mean, it's, where is the original work, right? Where's, we have the whole thing of now with AI. Oh man, I should not say this. People are going to just kill me for saying this, but
no, I mean, AI has its place in the world. Comic book art isn't one of them.
No, absolutely. But what I'm saying is that artists complain a lot about, AI stealing their work.
Yep.
And then we have, artist alley full of artists basically selling things that they do not own the rights to. And it's like, I mean, fine, I'm okay with that, but maybe have more original material as well. It's, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. We're off topic a little bit, but that's fine, because some of these are important to say. But let's get to Cinematic Figments. Give us an overview of the anthology and kind of what makes it unique and why people should support it on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a massive fan of Twilight Zone, and Black Mirror as well to an extent, but Twilight
So
Zone
good.
especially.
So good.
Twilight Zone especially, and it's because we often say that, oh, keep the message out of my entertainment. I don't agree with that. I think that entertainment should have, it doesn't have to be political, it doesn't have to be, it can be just something to make you think. It can be a philosophical question, it can be anything, right? It definitely doesn't have to always be political, and I think stories most of the times it's not. But yeah, it's that having a story that you're telling a story and you're talking about something that isn't the thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but and I think Cinematic Figments is very much that kind of like Twilight Zone, in the sense that the story, there is a story and there is a story to follow, but it's more about raising a question, making you think. For example, the message at the end of the first story, Finite, is I think it's kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Without giving spoilers. I mean, it just kind of goes full circle, the way that it starts and the way it ends, but it kind of puts everything in a different perspective. And
it's real world in that one, very much, because that guy is dealing with a real problem. You know what I'm saying? And I think everybody has a story similar to that, or knows somebody with a similar story as that one.
Yeah, and I mean, that part you can say, yeah, it's basically a researcher that's at the edge of the solar system and finds out that he has, an incurable cancer, which, this is in the future, and he says it right at the beginning. We can travel faster than the speed of light. We can, do all these amazing things, but we still can cure, cancer. And it's, it's about coming to terms with his own mortality. And so there's all these questions kind of just, there's the journey of the character, but I always try to, I try to tell a story to make you think about, okay, in this situation, I don't know, how do you interpret it? How would you, to bring your own experience to it, to bring your own ideas to it. I think that's, for me, good storytelling is bringing your own thing to interpret it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that defines what a story is.
So yeah, I mean, why Cinematic Figments? Yeah, I mean, if you like stuff like Twilight Zone, like my previous book Bereavement, like Black Mirror, even Star Trek, and that sort of thing.
You brought up, like, you pose a question within the story to make you think. If I remember right, at the beginning of every episode of Tales from the Crypt keeper would pose a question, then go into the story.
Yeah,
so there you go.
No, fair enough. Yeah, I do not know that. I need to check it out.
Oh, Tales from the Crypt, man,
that
was my jam back in the day. That was my story time just before bed. As a horror fan, Tales from the Crypt and the Crypt Keeper were, that was, because he would start it out, he would open a book and he would, like, pose the question from the book and then go into the story. And by the end of the story, the question that he posed would be answered.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think in this case, it's like more, I try not to, I don't know, answer it obviously. And I guess that's, where you say that, oh, you're going to leave me hanging, and, that sort of thing, is that, I try not to always give like that answer.
Yeah. Well, you leave it open for people to derive their own answers from the story. And the only one that I think that I've seen that was like a real finish, that where it poses a question, but you kind of know, was that second story from book one. So, and to me, like I said earlier, that had the perfect ending. It didn't need to be said. You just kind of knew.
Yeah, and I guess that's why that's the more traditional story, I think, from the four, is because, yeah, I think it's a more, it has a more of a conclusion. Yeah, the other ones are very much like, your Twilight Zone sort of thing. So if you do like that, I mean, you probably are going to like that. I mean, yeah, like I said, there's four different stories. They range from different themes, like, life and death, mortality, from struggling with your own inner, I don't know, demons, addictions, that sort of thing. There's a lot of different.
So the last one, Infinite, which was is a perfect title for that story. It was very, how do I don't want to spoil nothing, but it took me probably 3 pages into the story before I realized that the main character was a AI, was a robot. And I was like, oh, damn, that's okay, cool. I'm like, I didn't see that coming, because he keeps talking about his father. And then it's like, okay, his father. But then when the name of the story is Infinite, and what he's doing is potentially an infinite thing. So I was like, how is this guy still going for this long? And then it's like, oh, wait, this is a robot. This is an AI. So that was a cool story too.
Yeah, I really like that. I mean, that one was something that I just woke up with, like the the voiceover, that the captions of that story. This just kept coming to my mind, and I kind of just put it in my notes, and then I just created a story around it. It was like a really different process for that. So
That was a really fun one. It makes you, it made me think, like, dang, this dude's literally on a never-ending mission, like a never-ending journey, as far as we, the reader, can tell. So that one to me was really unique in that he's just out there. It's just him. And with it being an AI and supposedly machine learning and everything, he's very human characteristically. And as far as he's going, that's got to be lonely as hell. Like, his own inner turmoil that he faces day in and day out, just alone with nobody there. Dude, that to me in and of itself would drive me mad.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing about that story was that, so this whole book was written, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, so before AI was a thing. And there's actually a part in that story where he's making art. So you have an AI making art.
Yeah.
And I find it really, I don't want to say funny, because there's nothing funny about it, but it's the whole thing of, that was written like 4 or 5 years ago. And it was
that would have been right on the cusp of when AI was becoming, or starting to become, like a mainstream, everyday talked about thing. It was like that 2020, 2021, right around COVID is when AI really started feeling like it was getting, like, pushed more mainstream.
Yeah, but it wasn't still, I mean, we still didn't have, like, Will Smith eating spaghetti, right? We still, there was still that, it was still not being used to create, images or video or anything like that. And it's really weird now to read that story and to see, oh, this is kind of a self-fulfilling, I don't know, this thing is happening now. It's like, what are people going to think about that?
We don't know. 5-10 years from now, shit, that may be an actual thing going on. We don't know.
So
how fast that will go, because I mean, we're still in the beginning stages of this. I just hope it doesn't go the route of Skynet from the Terminator. That would be like the worst thing ever. So
Yeah, no, I hope not. I mean, I hope they are more like this AI that's like, you have your own thing, you can't do anything about it. You're
Yeah.
suffering a lot,
Like
screw you. No.
he's literally, the way he's programmed is there is literally jack shit he can do about it.
Yeah, it's
His only thing is the mission. He
yeah.
can't self-abort it. He can't do none of that stuff. Like even if he wanted to, and that's his inner struggle, is that he knows he's on this never-ending mission, and there's not a darn thing he can do about it.
Well, it doesn't necessarily know, right? I mean, it's the whole thing of I guess that's the question. I mean, not wanting to give much away, but I think I see Finite and Infinite as like I don't know, opposite sister stories
Yep.
because they are kind of the same story but a different aspect. One is,
Yeah, I was going to
what
ask
if
you about that. If you meant them to be like the opposites of each other.
not originally when I wrote it, when I wrote them, but then I realized that, oh yeah, they are kind of opposites because one is like, what if there's a finite nature to the universe, and the other is what if the universe is infinite and there's no end and there was no beginning, no end. It's like we're just human, we cannot understand the
Yep.
idea of something being infinite. So it's kind of those two, I don't know, opposites, I guess. So yeah, infinite was meant as that. What if there is no
Yeah.
end to it or beginning, or so yeah. I lost myself. I don't know what I was saying.
No, you're spot on. So we've talked about 3 of the 4 stories. Let's take a second to talk about probably the most horrifying thing possible, which is kind of like I'm trying to remember the name, Area 9 or whatever it was, the movie
Oh, okay. Yeah.
with the shrimp like aliens.
District
And
9. District 9.
District 9, yes.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
love that movie. I love that movie so
And
much.
I've heard there's going to be a new one of those, but this is kind of like that meets a vampire type of story almost, where aliens have come to Earth, but there's only a certain type of human that they can feed off of.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, that shit was like, holy hell.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot more sense
The
in the end,
alien
right?
itself is creepy as shit. It's like something out of a horror story.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely love the design of the aliens. Samuel did a fantastic job. So, yeah, if you read Portrait of a Soul, he did that book as well. But this was the first time that we worked together again, like 4 or 5 years ago. And yeah, it just hasn't come out until now. And yeah, that story, that one was definitely one that I had planned to do as a short film. Yeah, never happened because budget reasons, and imagine a short film having aliens that look like that, or spaceships
Feeding
and
off
stuff.
people.
Yeah, feeding off people. Yeah, that wouldn't have been cheap. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of happy that I was able to tell that story in a comic format.
No, that one. So the second story and this story were probably my 2 favorites from this anthology. Just because I love the horror aspect of this one. And who knows that we don't know what's out there. I just hope it ain't those. Hopefully when they come, they're a little bit more friendlier than what those guys were. And even
Yeah.
then, they didn't hurt anybody else. It was just a particular type of human with a particular type of blood
That they are interested in. Yeah,
that
and
they are interested in. You didn't say what kind of blood or anything like that, or what type of, blood, whatever it was that these people had in them. But geez, like, just imagine a horrifying looking alien sticking a straw in you and sipping it from the tap. That is scary as hell. That's nightmare stuff.
yeah, and again, it's not like all the other stories. It's not really about the aliens. It's about that last panel that kind of just yeah, it's I feel like, if I had written that now, I probably would have made it a little bit different. I would have made it a little bit more obvious, because that last panel might kind of get lost in the page. But it completely changes the meaning of the story. But until then, it's like this horror thing of, I don't know, these creepy creatures kind of just drinking straight from your veins, sort of. And and taking you to like this weird facilities with just the thing that nightmares are for, with all these devices just made to kind of just get into your body. It's yeah, it's really cool. And and I'm really happy that I got to do this with Sam as well, because he has this realistic style.
Let's take a few minutes and tell us who else you worked with on this, because we haven't gave the shout out to them properly yet. So who are your artists on this one, and who did like the penciling and the coloring and all that stuff, the covers?
Oh man, there was so much really. But yeah, the first story was I'm going to butcher his name, but Ozo Eziogo. So he's a Nigerian artist who he is amazing. I mean, if you look at the first story,
the coloring on that one and the views from the ship itself, amazing use of colors and realness behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did a fantastic job on that story, and all of them really are really good. But that first one is so vibrant, and like the views beyond, the windows is what sold that story and made it so much more, to be such a sad story. It is such a beautiful book, from the terms of the art and the color and stuff like that.
Yeah, and if you see, I've seen his process, and it's really, he doesn't really do line art. It just starts with the colors, and at the end you just have that thing, and it's like it's amazing.
That's really dope. Yeah,
it's really it looks like like those classic painters who just pick up a brush and start putting things, and in the end you have a painting. That's kind of what it does. So it's amazing to see a full comic with that art style. So
that's what really, like, the art on that one, phenomenal.
So Ozo did the art and the colors. Ferran Delgado did the letters. He worked a lot for Marvel and DC. He's great. I mean, I loved what he did with the lettering towards the end of the story. Not wanting to give anything away, but just like, it's just,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's just so good. Second story was Rifan has a studio. So basically, it was one of his artists. He did the coloring.
Okay.
And so it looks just fantastic. It was lettered by Rob Jones, which I had worked with before in another book, in Prey, and he's also a fantastic letterer. Who else? Samuel Vargas on Parasites, and it was lettered by Mattia Zanetti, and he also lettered Infinite.
Okay.
And art.
That one had really good lettering in it too, like those two stories, like the placements of it. Because to me, people don't think about it this way: lettering and placement of the lettering and within the story can make or break a book. If done properly, it's amazing. But you see some out there sometimes, even in mainstream stuff, where it feels like the lettering takes away from the story that's being told because of the placement.
Yeah.
Are they trying to put too much in one panel or one page?
Yeah, the pacing is, the lettering is essential for pacing, really.
Yeah.
I think pacing is, I don't know, I feel like, unfortunately, in comics, you don't see a lot of, I mean, I'm not claiming to do it better than anyone. Probably a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but a lot of comics seem to have lost the, art of pacing properly a book. And, there are some amazing, writers, letters, artists out there who are really good with it. But there's also a lot of, books that is just like, oh, just dump, a million words into a panel. And
I'd rather they give 2 or 3 more pages inside the book than just splurge a whole bunch of words on paper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is it cost effective to dump it on one page? Yes, but it takes away from the story that's trying to be told by the artist or the writer.
I'll go further away, and I'll say that in some cases that's actually the right decision, right? In some cases, you do want to. So in one of the books that I'm working on, Flame Vault, I have a page that's literally a black page with a ton of text, like a ton of text. But for that story, it makes sense in that panel to have all of that. I think it really is. It really is about the pacing. It's I think that in some cases it makes sense. Most times, probably it should be 2 or 3 pages. Yeah, like you say. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, it all depends on the story being told and the art that's accompanying it. So, but I thought those were done brilliantly just because of the way they were done. It's not too much, it's not too little. The wording is in the right spot for the panel. It was done great. So, and a great letterer is they know how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really happy that all the letters that I worked with, they are fantastic.
And those guys don't get enough love that they deserve.
No. And
I know I'm guilty of this. I am guilty of it 100%. When I'm posting up my comments of the week and my recommendations, I give props to the artist and the writer. I give props to the interior, but I never give props to the letterer or the penciler. And I don't do that intentionally. It's just there's not a lot of room on social media. Like you have to pick and choose your battles. So for me, like what I've decided is I keep it basic now. I give you the publisher, the writer, the issue, the artist. A lot of, I'm seeing a lot more of the cover artists and the interior artists are usually one and the same with some companies. So, and I'm not leaving out the letterer or the penciler and stuff like that on purpose. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible for myself because I only get 24 hours a day and I would like to get 8 hours of sleep within those 24 hours.
Imagine that, wanting to rest. So sorry, just to complete, because I didn't give
go ahead. Sorry.
There's always Erwin, and I'm probably butchering his name, Erwin J. Rosa in the art of the last story, which I haven't mentioned in the either. And I mean, it's what you see. He's amazing. His art style is fantastic. He also did one of the covers, and then the covers. Linden Wine.
So those 2 covers that you sent me were absolutely phenomenal. I used both of them when I was doing the advertising for this show, and even the thumbnail that you'll see the thumbnail that I used to advertise this show today before we went live. I just did the top portion with the Scinematic Figments, but the use of the colors with it and the way the title is and everything, I thought were phenomenal. I don't know if you can, on the one cover, are you going to leave it that way with no title on it, like a virgin copy, or are you going to have the Cinematic Figments on there?
Going to have it. So
okay.
I already asked. So the first cover was Lyndon White who did it, and he did the logo. And I just asked him to kind of just place the logo and adjust for the other covers.
Because I thought on the second cover, like that you sent me, that one was pristine. If you just had that as a Virgin exclusive, would be an absolute banger, because I absolutely love that cover without the title on it. But that's just my opinion, and I love Virgin covers like that, where you just have the art of the cover.
That's probably not a bad idea, actually.
I get one every now and then. I just really enjoyed that cover. It was, everybody has seen it. It's a beautifully done cover. Shout out to the artist on that one. Like, you could have both, but that one without that title on it, and just that art was, and the colors, I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah, so the artist was Max Bartolini, and it's fantastic. That cover is, I mean, working in anthology is really messed up to give credits to everyone or to talk about everyone, because there's so many people. But I mean, it's really hard to not to, because everybody did. I mean, the covers, they are all gorgeous. I mean,
yes,
Lyndon's cover is gorgeous. Max cover is gorgeous,
and they're very fitting for each book that they represent. But I'm a fan of Virgin comic books like that, and I was like, wow, if he's doing this as a Virgin, right on, because that's freaking perfect.
I might, that's kind of a good idea. I might do that.
Hey, like I said, I get one every now and then.
Thank you.
So we know your creative process. You're kind of like all over the place with it. You just get ideas and inspirations from everywhere. So we're not going to dive into that again. Let's see. Okay, this is a must. So we're talking about your new Kickstarter. What rewards are you going to have this time with this Kickstarter?
Right. So I'm trying something new here and going really simple, which is you can get books. Imagine that. Kickstarter about comic books where you can get books.
Hey, yeah. I mean, I see some where there's so much stuff. And they've gone out. They've already spent 10, 15, 20 grand. Have artists do multiple covers, or here's the cover, here's the Virgin cover, here's the cover, here's a Virgin cover, and they'll have like 50 covers ready to go. Mm-hmm. And it's like, Jesus, pick up, like, you're overdoing it. And like their Kickstarter to support it, like if you wanted all their covers, it's like $5 grand. I'm like, there's just no way. I'm like, there's some poor soul out there that is in love with all these covers and he wants them. And he's going to find a way to get that $5 grand to get them. And I'm like, you got to pick and choose here. Like, on your last one, like you had 2 other stories that you could get along with it. And I really enjoyed those 2 stories. Like, I really wanted to read them. And so I'm like, and it was reasonably priced. It's not a $40 cover or a $50 cover, which there's Kickstarters out there with $100 covers, $200 covers. And I'm like, you are on something. Mm-hmm. Like, you are really reaching for the stars with that kind of stuff, but you are not like that. You do keep it minimalist, which I appreciate. And you're not trying to rob people.
Well, to be fair, I mean, a lot of people doing those, $100 covers, people do go for them because they end up kind of making a lot of, 5-6 figures sometimes. So who am I to criticize that? Because it's clearly working for them.
There's no criticization there.
Yeah,
it's just one of those where I get it. I get what you're trying to do from it. But 20 to 30 covers is...
Yeah, it's too much.
It was an overkill at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with this one, I've been doing 3 covers for every book. So for this campaign, what I decided was, because, a lot of people, yourself included, kind of just went, and thank you, by the way, went for the bundle.
Yep. Like I said, you're getting a deal within a bundle. And, we talked about it. We kind of like eked it right in underneath the maximum there. So good for us.
It was so close to the maximum, so close. But yeah, but I think because it worked out really well on the previous one that. Oh, did you freeze?
No.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I was
don't worry.
checking out my daughter message.
No worries. Do your thing if you have to.
No. You're good. Keep going.
Oh,
I apologize.
no, don't worry. I touched something, and so yeah, because people went for deals quite a lot on the previous campaign. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do the same. So because I had pretty much enough stories for 2 books, I'm going to release issues 1 and 2 at the same time, which basically allows people to get 2 books for the shipping of. It's not really the shipping of one, but it gets cheaper than getting both separately. So yeah, people can get issue 1, they can get issue 2, they can get a bundle with both of them. Each of them has a variant cover, so you have the main cover and the variant. So in total, you have 4 covers for 2 books. If you want, you can get them all. So basically, the rewards are combinations of those 4 covers.
To me, simple is always better when it comes to that kind of stuff. Yeah, and you're getting your bang for your buck at that point.
Yeah, and I noticed that I was overdoing it because with my previous campaign, Bereavement, I was planning to take maybe a full day for me to create the graphics for the rewards. It took me like a week. It took me a week to set it up. And most people don't seem to actually care about, bookmarks and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I do like a good bookmark, but most people don't care about bookmarks, prints and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go simple, try something really simple, just the books. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with this campaign. You have...
That's my favorite bookmark right there. It was a freebie from Vanessa Lilly in her new book that just come out, Blood Sisters.
So cool.
I like it. It's got the little beads on it. She is a Native American writer. So this was really cool. And she sent this to me when I won a book from her live stream a few months back, where she had a sit down with Alex Segura and his new book, Alter Ego. So I ended up winning Alter Ego. Nice. And then she hits me up. It's like, hey, I have a copy of his other book that goes with this one if you want it. She's like, you know what? It don't matter. You're getting it anyway. So she sent me both his books and the bookmark, which was really dope. Both books were phenomenal. And I was already reading some of Alex Segura's comic book work because he also does comic books, is where I knew him from the beginning. I didn't realize he wrote books as well. So that's kind of like how I ended up with those books. Both of them phenomenal reads. I do plan on picking up that book, Blood Sisters, because she just dropped another one too that's inspired by her heritage and Native American. So, but that's a really cool bookmark to me. It's her bookmark. It's got her own little personal touch on it that she does. So that's special to me. I do like a good bookmark, especially when it means something from the person that gave it to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I totally do. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I do like to have some things, I don't want to call it merchandise, but it's kind of what it is. But it's, something that people actually use. But yeah, I think this time is like, I have so much crap, I have a tower of piles of boxes of stuff that I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go simple, just the books. Let's see what happens. Because
I mean, you do get to a point where you're taking this stuff to cons and just giving it to people.
Yeah.
I've seen people do that, where a friend of mine who does comic books, Drew Moss, like his, they get stats of books that they do from the publisher. And he's just like, hey, you have this book. Hey, you have this book. Like, no, dude, I wasn't collecting when that book come out. He's like, well, here's the hardback. And he signs it for me. He's like, here you go. It was like his very first book that he did, but he's just trying to get stuff out of his house. So I was thankful for it. I thought it was really cool, but it was like, all of a sudden now I'm like, I got a handful of stuff that I have to carry around the rest of this con.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. I will never take that for granted because it was really cool of him to give me. And But yeah, that was one of those things where he's just like, "Here, dude." I'm like, "You could have gave us," because he just lives up the road from me. Like you could, like we could have just, I'm like, whatever, this works. I'll carry it around. I don't care. I got free stuff. Can't
Yeah,
complain about free stuff.
exactly. But yeah, that's it. I don't want to be in that position to, be, dumping stuff on people.
Yeah.
Because I want to free space on my house. And but yeah, that's the thing. I mean, people seem to care more about the books. That's what I learned with Kickstarters, and that's what I like to do anyway. I'm not in the business of making bookmarks. I'm in the business of telling stories.
Will you
So
be
yeah,
offering signed copies on this
yeah,
one?
yeah. All the books are signed.
Okay.
That's by default. That's free.
Yeah.
That's I'm not going to charge an extra £2 for a signature, like you see sometimes.
Dude, a lot of Comic Cons that I've been going to, some of these signatures, granted, they do it because there's resellers out there trying to make a buck off a signature. So I've seen people where it's like $50 after the first one because they know you're trying to resell.
Yeah,
which I appreciate them doing that because that makes their signature more valuable.
I mean, if you're someone who's who has a name that people actually might want to buy with the signature, fair. I mean, but
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I mean, never
Yeah.
get there. So you get it for free.
Yeah. So it's funny because we got this Comic-Con coming up here that me and my daughter will be going to, and I was looking at the guest. So originally Alyssa Wong was going to be there, who's writing Psylocke right now, and she canceled, which was fine. But then I was like, okay, well, she's not going to be there anymore. Who else is going to be there that I'm interested in? And Vanessa Del Rey is going to be there, and Tula Latoy is going to be there, which is two other female comic book artists and writers that are going to be there that I'm like, dope. I'm getting those signatures for my personal collection for me. Because like even the cons now force the artists to charge, and they take the bulk of that money that they would make, which I think is completely fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, yep, first signature free, anything after that. So if their signature's $5 or $10, the convention is taking a cut of that. And oh, by the way, they've already had to pay to have a booth.
Well, it depends. I guess I think some would be invited, and the big names.
Well, I mean, these they were probably invited, so they were probably given a table. But at the same time, I think it's not right for anybody to take a cut of their profit from their name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's really messed up. Yeah. But yeah, you don't get any of that with me. You get like free signatures, books for fairly cheap prices. I think they are priced like £5 or £6 each, something like that. And then you have like bundles, all combinations, because you have like two variants for each. You have like 4 combinations of whichever you want. You can get all of them, and you can get one with the previous books that I've done as well. So you can get like 5 books in one go. So all
Great deal.
just books, and then you have the digital things as well.
Yeah.
In case you want it. But yeah, it's really going for simple this time.
So let everybody know when this Kickstarter will kick off.
So we are on the 23rd, so another 48 hours, well, a little bit more. So on the 25th,
because I think I originally said the 28th, so it's now the 25th.
If I said 28, then
because you were kind of on the fence between the 25th and the 28th, I believe, is what you sent me both, but you weren't 18th? Sure.
18th, maybe.
Okay.
Might have been, yeah, because I was either this Tuesday or the Tuesday before, so it was probably that. But yeah, I mean, 25th will be the day that it's going out, and just if you like sci-fi, if you like, you can read the log lines if just talking through them is not like it's not very well. If it wasn't enticing enough, just talking about it, you can read the log lines in the
Yeah.
Kickstarter page.
And I'll be sharing it across all of my social media platforms as well. Yeah. So as soon as it's live, I will literally take your post, repost it on Blue Sky, and then repost it across all my other social media platforms, as I always do for you and anybody else who comes on and wants to talk about their Kickstarter. I'm not a one person show here. I am a one person show, but I'm not just here to support Bruno. I am supporting Bruno, but I support everybody if they want to come on the podcast and talk about their work. I'm here for it. That's literally why I created this podcast, and it was one of those directions that I wanted to go in eventually, that I'm finally getting to go in and support and giving artists like yourself a platform to come on and talk about their work. And that was it was a small goal that I didn't know would be achievable, that I'm now achieving. So I'm here for it. I'm all about it. More power to everybody who wants to come on and do this. So
definitely come on, because it's great fun. Yeah, you get to talk about your thing with a guy who's actually a proper comics nerd.
Yeah, I comic books are my thing. I mean, I got stacks over here. Look at this.
Yeah,
that's my current reading pile.
Oh wow.
It looks like a lot, but there's duplicates in here.
Okay,
so it's really not that much. Like Boom Studios released The Last Boy, which is a Peter Pan retelling. So I got like 4 covers from it because I couldn't decide what I wanted. So I got 4 different ones. Dan Panesian, who wrote it, is a phenomenal writer. He had a cover in a Virgin variant of that cover. I picked up both those covers. There was a cover with Captain Hook being chased by the crocodile. Could not pass that up. So I couldn't decide. So I went with the group, because I was like, oh, that's so cool. And there's the one with Wendy on it. Yeah. It was just, they were all so awesome. So and Absolute Flash came out this week as well. So I picked up a David Nakayama cover from there, and a Clayton Crane cover from Absolute Flash, which Absolute Flash had like 15 covers for #1.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you are the target audience of, those people who actually release a book with.
And I love talking comic books. So I love for people to want to come on. I want to make this a place where comic book artists and writers can come, talk about their work, share their work with others. And to me, that's like my ultimate dream goal, is just having this place where a comic book artist, a comic book writer can say, hey, USDN, can I come on and talk about my new project? And I love it, because I try to make this as easy and as simple as possible. You have to do very little except show up. I do all the advertising. I do all the setup. You literally just get a link in your box saying, click here and join.
And I can confirm.
I make it simple. I mean, I don't know what else to do. So spread the word. I'm here for you artists and you writers out there who want to get your projects in front of people. I'm here for that.
Yeah, I definitely confirm. It's just that simple. Just show up and everything is set up for you.
It's mutually beneficial. It helps me grow. It helps you grow. And I'm really hoping that this becomes kind of like my only thing, is sitting down with artists a few days a week and just talking about their work and comic books and whatever else they want to come on and talk about, because it's fun for me. It's not like doesn't feel like work. I'm talking to my friend Bruno. It's as simple as that for me. I'm talking to my friend Bruno, and my cat back there is about to get her butt busted because she's on a shelf she shouldn't be on. Yeah, she acts like I can't see her. She likes to jump up there and lick my Legos. That's all she does. She will lick the Legos. I don't know why. but that's what she does.
That's
But
what cats do.
Bruno, let's close this out. Remind the people when Cinematic Figments is coming out, and tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, on the 25th, maybe around what time is it there? 3 p.m., right?
It's
No,
11 a.m.
11 a.m. 3 p.m. is here. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. But yeah, around 6 7 p.m. GMT. So that should be 2 3 p.m. for you. I was right when I said 2
Yep.
p.m. Yeah.
Yep.
Somehow this is how I turned it around, making something that didn't make sense. So yeah, 25th, it will come off on Kickstarter. You'll have issues 1 and 2. They are independent. You can just get one. You can get both. It's cheaper if you get both. But
and we didn't mention this yet. How long will this Kickstarter go for?
just a month. Like
Okay.
going very simple, very standard. Changing one thing, just having books. That's it.
Yep.
And yeah, and you can find me on Blue Sky at Bruno Catarino .bsky whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, and that's it, really.
This cat, I swear, dude. She probably saw a shadow from the light coming from the outside in, and now she's trying to get it. That's my daughter's cat, y'all, not mine. My cat is probably on the cat tower in the other room. So
also doing cat stuff.
Also doing cat stuff, staring at the window, watching the birds and the squirrels. But that's it. Bruno, you got anything else for us?
No, that's really it. I will just double, on saying, come on, because yeah, it's a really good time. You really have to do nothing else. And
I'll make it easy.
It's really good for everyone because, people who follow me start following you. People who start following you start following me, and
Yep.
We all gain. And yeah, and you get a good time talking with the chairman.
Yep,
I won't say your name if you don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the chairman. I'm the chairman here.
Just that.
I lead the Council of Nerds. But that's all we have for everybody today. What's coming up for me is I have Bob Campbell coming on Friday, I think at 6:30, to talk about his new Kickstarter, which is an issue 2 of Tales of the Illuminatus, which, if you don't know, is an anthology. Well, no, it's a trilogy book series. It's kind of weird. I won't lie to nobody, but it's really cool. The book, I've read issue 1. It starts out like, what the hell am I looking at? And then it gets into the story, and then the story makes sense. So thankfully, but it's just how the book is written. I mean, it deals with the Illuminati and that kind of stuff. So it's meant to be a little off weird, but in a good way. You know what I'm saying? So I will be sitting down with Bob Campbell, who is doing the art and the writing for this book, on Friday. Going to be a good time. It's going to be my first time talking to Bob and meeting Bob. So I'm really excited for that. My new episode of New Comic Book Day will come out a little later today. I'm very late on it. I do apologize, but I've been catching up on TV shows lately. So I'm simple. I got to get my TV in when I can. And I've been catching up on anime. Reacher is on Amazon right now. So I'm busy. And then coming up April, we're getting Andor season 2, which I've been waiting for forever. So we'll be doing something big here on the podcast for Andor. I'll probably have my friends on from the Pop Break and maybe from some of my other podcasts here on the channel with us at DFPN as well. So a lot of good things, a lot of big things coming out for USDN. I will be continuing my interview series. So if you or somebody you know has a Kickstarter ready to go live or is already live and they would like to come on, we are here to support them as well. But on behalf of myself and the Council of Nerds, this interview, as well as Bruno Catarino, y'all, is USDN approved. Check out his Kickstarter 25 March when it goes live. That is it from us here Everybody enjoy their Sunday.